Hey, so there's only one thing that this Thomann box can mean, and that is, yes, the ES335 copy by Harley Benton is here. So I'm going to get on now with the unboxing. Just rip it straight out of this box. These staples are always a little bit more difficult to get open than the box inside. Thanks for all tuning in and all the positive comments that you've made about this guitar. Really enjoy your positive comments. Oh, my kids really love popping these. Well protected though, I have to say, from Thomann. Very nicely protected. Okie dokie. Get the case from the inside, get rid of that, and get rid of all of that nonsense. Okay. Let's break the seal on this sellotape, sticky tape, scotch tape, whatever you want to call it. Sorry about my voice today, I've got a really nasty cold, folks. Just that time of year, isn't it? Anyway, hope you're all well. Ah, that's new. I haven't seen it come with such a nice covering before. It's quite a nice touch. A little bit of polystyrene protecting the neck there. Comes with the, oh, it's actually heavier than I was expecting. Cheap Chinese cable and the Harley Benton little tag. And I'm going to be careful with the bag on this one because, as I alluded to, I think the likelihood is that we will be doing some sort of competition or giveaway for this guitar. Unless I like it too much. No, I can always get another one. Okay, and there it is. And it's like unboxing from China, isn't it? All this snow. This is a service check, quality inspection. The instrument has been checked by our service team. Service is very important to us. The instrument went through a stringent quality control before being sent out. The instrument's functions and settings are checked by our service team to keep the item in pristine condition and to help maintain its value. We advise you to pay close attention to the correct humidity levels and use of the correct cleaning agents. That's a nice little touch. Signed off by one of the Thomann employees there. Okay, on first inspection, other than these little polystyrene balls, which are a bit of annoyance. Let's have a look. So, there it is. The Harley Benton ES35 VT series, which is the vintage series. One of the first things that is a little disappointing straight out of the box is the fact that this pickguard is appallingly cut, and I mean really appallingly cut. In fact, I'll come a bit closer so that you can see that. Really not very impressive at all. I know it's got a protective cover on it, so it will be shinier than that, but particularly this corner has been very badly cut. I have to say, if I was keeping it, I'd probably take that off anyway and just fill those holes in a little bit. The colour, it's a nice colour. It's a very deep sort of cherry red, perhaps a bit darker than cherry actually. It's certainly, it's been very heavily painted. You can't see a great deal of the grain through it, but it is quite a nice colour nonetheless. You can see a little bit more of the grain on the back, but I was expecting to see a little more, if I'm honest. The body binding, oh, I like the jack socket not having a plate. That's quite nice. And everything feels really thick and solid on this. I did see a comment from somebody saying it was halfway house between a 335 and a 339 style guitar. And I think I would agree. It's got that more sort of solid feel like a 339, and the not so much of a ambient sort of hollow body on this. In fact, I would suggest that up in these corners there's quite a thick piece of wood. No, it's definitely hollow there. And from what I can see, the way that it's constructed is with a solid block all the way through the middle, and then you've got a various size cavity on both sides that runs all the way through. Yeah, the solid wood seems to come out quite a way on this. I'd say about 20 mil, 15, 20 mil to the edges, which I don't think is a bad thing, because I think it will probably give it a little bit more strength. Just notice there's a slight blemish, a little dark mark underneath the paint and the lacquer on the body there. The heel is a two-piece heel joint. There's a join there that runs right the way around the back of the heel. I'm imagining, yes, there's a scarf joint, which actually isn't a bad thing. That's a good thing, because it gives that headstock a little bit more strength. Although, as you can see, the break angle on the headstock is nothing like as deep or as pronounced as it would be on a Gibson 335, which is what this is trying to pretend to be. The ABR style bridge seems fine, quite solid. I won't know until I take it off how heavy that is, but the heavier usually the better. Gives a nice transfer, I suppose, of the acoustic tone through into the body, which can only help the sustain and the playing tone, if you like, of no, I'm not going to get into the tone wood debate. I will tell you at some point I have got a video to make about tone wood, and like the previous Harley Benton, I bought the SG style guitar. This has come nearly in tune. Okay, switch is quite a clacky sounding thing, but I don't know, I was going to say it feels quite solid, but it's got a bit of play in it and it's quite meh. But it feels like it's going to be solid enough in operation, so that's good. All of the tone and volume pots are nicely secured on, nothing falling off there. That first volume feels a little bit tighter than the other. In fact, that's quite a nice touch. The tone knobs are very, very loose and nice and easy to do or to turn, and the volume knobs are slightly more resistive to the turning, which I quite like, although actually I think, to be honest, I'd prefer it the other way round. I'd like the volume to be quite easy. I mean, it's easy enough to do violining style swells with the volume, although these aren't really in the right position to do that. You really want the volume about there, just like Eddie puts it. Okay, so yeah, the fretboard is rosewood, that's for sure, and it's not poor, but there is no real prettiness to the wood grain. and there is a slightly lighter patch that runs up from here to here. I think though, for the amount of money that this costs, I'm still absolutely astounded that they can produce a solid, decent enough guitar with okay wood. You know, they're really not expensive, these. In fact, they're right at the bottom end of the budget range. But the woods and the construction and general finish, barring the pick guard, is really good. I'm actually quite impressed. The pickup surrounds are a bit plasticky and don't feel particularly well finished. There's a bit of a sort of a jaggedy bit on there, and you wouldn't expect that on a higher end guitar, but we should be forgiving that on a guitar that's mass produced at this sort of price range. Do I like the look of it? Yeah, I do. I love the look of it, and I think it was a really good choice on your part from my subscribers, especially those of you that bothered to vote. I think it's a really, really nice looking guitar. We'll plug it in a bit and see how it sounds. But certainly first impressions out of the box. Oh, I would say that the inlay, the headstock inlay, I'll put some photographs up in a moment, but the headstock inlay is a little bit plasticky looking and looks like a sticker just under the lacquer. And the trussrod covers, meh. The Harley Benton, yeah, again, I think that's just a sticker under the lacquer, but certainly the logo on the headstock looks very plasticky and doesn't look very inlaid at all. Tuners, I think these are identical to the tuners that came on the SG style guitar, and they've held tune incredibly well, and this seems to have held its tune closely from testing over at Germany. Although actually it's not advisable to send or ship a guitar any significant distance while it's up at anything close to concert pitch, because you're putting a tension on the neck. Could effectively cause damage to the neck in transit, especially if it got a really good bump. And that's only for freight. I mean, if you're going to carry this in the back of a car, or even if you're taking it on as hand luggage onto a plane, you wouldn't need to worry about that. It's only if it's going to get serious bumps and bounces in the hold of an aircraft, and also if it's been in storage in a cold warehouse, because the majority of aircraft hulls now are air conditioned. They're kept at a certain temperature so that things don't freeze like they used to. Things used to get very cold in the hulls of aircraft, but generally freight aircraft these days are kept up to pretty much standard temperature, or just below standard temperature. They don't spend a lot on heating, I'm sure. Anyway, there it is, the Harley Benton ES35. There's another little mark behind the G tuner peg, little line on the back of the headstock. I'm really looking forward to plugging it in. Oh, I've just noticed, goodness me. I'll put a picture of this up. There are some more nasty black marks under the finish, just around the 9th fret there on the back of the neck, which is a bit of a shame because I hadn't noticed those before. Hey ho, and another one here on the underside of around the 4th to 5th fret. Little mark there. Talking of frets, doesn't seem to be too badly finished. A little sharper than you'd expect on a more expensive guitar. In fact, you wouldn't expect it to be sharp at all on a more expensive guitar, but certainly it's not going to cut your fingers up, not going to cut your hand up while you play it. Okay, so let's have a look at some pictures. Cool, flipping cold. Not great, is it, at this time of year? Okay, that's the end of the video, I guess. Not a bad little guitar. Certainly for the money, it's good value. Very good value. Quite like it. At least there's no blemishes on the front. Nothing noticeable. Hopefully not under that horrible pick guard. Might even be worth taking that off. Although, leave that to somebody else. Yep, good-o.